All right, we're doing our old during the game recording. Um Going for the scotch. Okay, we've seen this before. Uh, this didn't hurt us last time. Why would it hurt us this time? Now let's see. Um hmm. See if they blunder like they did before. Okay, so they don't blunder like they did before. What do we want out of the position? We don't just want to trade. Let's This is attacked twice. It's defended twice, so takes. So we don't necessarily need the queen to come out. Good job, Chris. Okay. What do we have here? Let's get our king safe. So, ideas. We can go here, maybe. We can come up, start with this battery. It's not the best battery, so we could also maybe go to F3. What would that do? Can you attack it at all? F3, we're looking at some stuff. We could go F4. I'm going to assume D6. Still can't take. Everything's defended as of right now. Okay. So, okay, so what I'm thinking is if I take, they can take back, sure. If I don't and say go here, right? Well, hold on. Because the whole point would be here takes. I think I could get away with taking the knight. So we have like an isolated king's pawn situation almost. So we go queen c3. If they want to take, We can then take, they take, we take, they take. So no, that's a losing line. We could take now, maybe. Yeah, let's do that. Right? Knight can't come in. Okay. So, there is a pawn on the board that can be taken. We could also contest the open file. Trying not to get too crazy here. Right. I guess who controls the open file? We have some ideas. Check. You can come this way, and I can come back. This. There's actually also an idea of coming here looking at this pawn. Hold on. This is absolutely viable, right? Check. You come this way. Here. You can't take. So you have to move. I could also maybe go this way looking at this weak pawn. But that doesn't necessarily do anything right now. Maybe I get checkmated, who knows. Okay. say the rook takes. Okay, let's see. Here, takes. Oof. Hmm. So now there is a threat. This is not the threat I wanted. Your knight is hanging. I'm not exactly sure what I want. Okay, how does that fix the problem of the knight hanging? Right? How does this... Can we calculate it? Takes. Do we need to calculate it? Am I going to get checkmated somehow? Maybe. It is possible. For sure. It's possible for sure. Maybe looking at the D1? And no. No, we will sit here for 13 minutes. We're not doing takebacks. Sorry. I'll just... No. Absolutely not. Sorry, I've been burned a few times with takebacks. What is the best play here, right? Sacking the queen? Oh. Yeah, no. Okay. We can go over it real fast, see where we played wrong. Let's see, E4. This is like the third time I've seen the bishop D4 situation. So that's definitely something to look at. I'm pretty confident that this is going to be the right move. And then there is, I think in the last game, I want to say, maybe it was a blitz game, you get hit with this. And then I went here, and my opponent did not want to trade queens. But in this situation, I think I think that's the best move. Attacking F7 square, and now we're just going for for craziness. Okay, e3. I guess reasonable move. This seems like one of those. I don't really see it. I don't see the full. Oh, I guess you have to, right? Because if you do bust out, I mean, you're gonna get hit with the old whammo schwammo here, and then it's actually just a lost piece. Okay, so I can see why you would do that. I can see why. Okay, but unfortunately now you're behind in development. Where did my opponent go wrong? This was fine. Kind of fine. Or yeah, here. We're gonna look in the thing. In here. I would say here. This was wrong. You just lined it up. And then I mean, here the thing is I'm gonna get a tempo or improve my position. So the other one I was looking at, I don't know if I actually verbalized it because I suck at doing that, was to just further throw down on the queen. Maybe you can't go here. There would be rough. All these are rough. So, let's see. Knight f3, g6. This was also just a huge blunder. They just didn't see. I imagine that because this is smart, right? Basically saying, go ahead. You're actually pinned here. Actually, it's not the case. Look here. I mean, you're in trouble. Don't get me wrong. This is not like super easy. Especially if you do something if the opponent does something like this, and it's like, oh man, king is super stuck. Knight is stuck. I don't have the most confidence that I could win this with the queen. Maybe coming here. When you start harassing the queen a bit, that just loses a pawn. And now I'm just going to start gobbling all your pawns. So, still an even game. Yeah. I, in the game, did not see this defensive resellers. Even though it's still a pretty even game. We'll go stopping on the opponent's move. Because f3, I'd have to sit here for a second and be like, ugh. And maybe I would come here. They could push up. Check. Here. Because the problem is the immobilization of my knight. And if I can get my knight out, then I can make progress. And so it'd have to be, something along this line. But then you're kind of setting yourself up. It's hard to. I'd have to coordinate my pieces. So I think e3 was best. Even though this threat is not anything, it's mostly now I can move this piece, and they didn't see it. So this is how we're going to do the evaluation now. we're going to come up here to the very first. We will click the engine on, and we are going to get rid of all the lines. And so all the lines are gone. We kind of have two interesting spots. Or I guess this is like the main line. But let's go through and do like a pseudo engine analysis. And see if we can find something. Actually, hold on. Let's turn it off. And again, kind of go through it again. I'm just such a slow person. E3, I want to check on this one specifically. And then where else? Let's try and find one more spot where you're like, maybe. I'm pretty confident in this. C5, continuing development, develop. Is there, I do wonder. There's no way development's a bad move, right? So, but I'm also massively, no, because we're about the same developed if you really look at it. Like if we're counting Tempe and like what's actually out on the board. The only problem is I am ahead in development by 1 Tempe because they owe 1 pawn move to get the bishop out. My bishops are out. Okay, so D2 comes up. Knight takes C6. So this is another one. Like, whenever calculating, I could have... you have to take back. Because if you don't, doesn't matter. Like, how good... I mean, you're down so much material. What would I even do here? I would take it. Come on now. It's queen. Okay, so this was all... It all seemed pretty forced. Take back. Because you're not going for checkmate, I do know there's specific situations. So, forced, and then here, this could have been maybe bad, except the knight can't jump in anywhere, which is good. Actually agree that taking's probably bad. Keeping the tension in the center is probably fine. Development can't be a losing move. Maybe trying to develop your light squared bishop. That's an idea. Okay, adding support to your pawn. Kind of with the goal of, in my head, maybe coming this way. Is this a pretty safe square, I wonder? Because now you actually have the opportunity to do that. Ooh. Huh. Okay. Now we actually have to be super... Now, this is a pretty real threat. It's not a super real threat just yet. But if they take, we're now threatening the light squared bishop. So e5 by my opponent here could have been interesting, especially if I don't want to trade off my light squared bishop, which is kind of like my attacking piece right now. Okay, so a bit of piece coordination on mine. Maybe I played that a little off. Yeah. I'm forced to move the light square bishop because I can't afford to have this taken because then I'm going to lose a piece. Here. Just ruins my pawn structure. So 95 would have been very interesting here, I think. I wouldn't have liked it, but something like this. And my light square bishop's actually hanging. It is undefended right now, so we'd have to. That's something that I'd have to figure out. Then you can solidify your pawn chain. No, this wouldn't be good. Yeah, because now we're actually kind of in a similar-esque position. But now I can actually throw. You don't necessarily. Actually, what's funny is this pawn's hanging now. So I feel like my opponent had more counterplay. So maybe e8 was a little rough and they needed to. So I'm going to say e5 here was probably best. E takes d5. Queen takes. Defending the rook. Maintaining tension. Yeah, looks good to me. Stealing a free pawn. And then coming back with the queen. I thought this was trickier. I don't think it's a good move, but I think it's tricky. I think it's tricky for sure. Also, not to mention that it's got two attackers. So here, I wonder. No, that doesn't work either. Takes. Oh, that could be interesting. Except it loses the queen. Takes here. Sure. Here. Here. Okay, so now we turn the engine on with no lines. And we just kind of see if there's any wide swings for both me and my opponent. And if I saw... if I missed anything. Yeah, pretty even. Okay, so I wouldn't actually say I've made it. Maybe some inaccuracies. Maybe. What? Yeah, it's not really worth looking into that far. This is fine. Queen c2. Okay, we're maintaining our advantage. Right. So my idea was here. Still bad. Okay. What else did we look at? Bishop takes d4. Okay. Takes d4. Okay. So d takes e4 here. Okay. I didn't like it as much. I thought maybe e5, knight e5 could have been better. Obviously, there's a line here that I'm missing. e2. I'm not missing the line. I just don't know how to punish it appropriately. So what? We just, like, develop? No. So there's a tactic here, is what I'm hearing. You're winning a pawn. What's it? Takes? Oh. Okay. I see it. Right. You're stopping your old boy from here. And then now you can actually probably still come in here and it'd be perfectly fine. And it would be similar to the game-ish, right? So e4 or probably even takes. Yeah, you can do it's kind of the same situation. The battery, I'm going to get a free pawn and then I can come back. Yeah. So the important thing to see, right, with the queen c2, e8, no, with this one, and the reason it's still bad and the reason I didn't see it is because the whole thing was I wasn't intending on taking, but you almost have to take here to maintain the advantage, because if we don't want to move the bishop, I mean, we can still, and then we're still a pawn up, and good luck. Let's see here. Dang, it's just going down the board. Good luck. And it's on a dark square now, so. Oh. Okay. Interesting. Sorry, to get my point across, knight e5 isn't as scary because you can take, and there's that double attack I was talking about when I was looking at this without the engine. It doesn't apply because you have the extra minute to get out. This would just lose a piece because of the knight. You could come here and start harassing, and the queen doesn't have like the best way to get out, and then you can also just steal a pawn. Okay, queen e8, d5. Okay, we're keeping our advantage. Queen takes. Ooh, we lose our advantage, but it's okay. We're not losing. So what, I wonder, is better? Rook fd e1. So something's better. Oh, I wonder. Let's check it. Yeah, you can just take the pawn immediately. It's just a free pawn. You can't come back because it's not defended quite enough yet. Oh, it is? Yeah. Hold on. Takes here. Let's just look at it. Yeah. Oof. Yeah. Same. Okay. You see, you looking at all the takes, huh? This is terrible. And then this is way better. But I don't know, in this situation, like, so queen takes e4. Oh, you see it? You get a piece back. You get a piece back. Two ways to go about it. We can check here. You come up. Take a pawn. We could do something like this and lose the complete advantage. Okay. Anyway, rook fe1 when they just wanted us to take the pawn. And instead, we find that pawn a moment later. h8, and then we're here. Oh, this is... I didn't hate this move, but... There we go. This was the move. So here, and then the other one that I wanted to look at. So either one is fine. Actually, rook e3 is slightly weaker, it looks like. Okay. Knight f3 is slightly weaker. Or slightly stronger. I still like rook e3. And then they whiff. Okay. So if we go through the game, sorry to go through it so slowly. We were kind of correct about this being a decisive moment. Our idea was wrong, right? But I do think we isolated like a key moment. Maybe not in the game. In the game, you're still like, you have no idea. But seeing how it went, you're like, oh, well, maybe. Takes. And then for me, this was a decisive wrong moment. So what do you do here? Probably come up. Oh, maiden 1. Oh my god. No, you don't come up. You know what? I'd be willing to bet. I'd be willing to bet you actually come up here. No. What? Fine. Let's do the computer analysis and see what their best move was. For the sake of ending the video at 36 minutes. We're going to try our best to be a little better about these long games. This game lasted like 10 minutes. Well, if you go by my opponent, it lasted 30 seconds. Okay, let's do Zalma. Okay. Look at that. 1 inaccuracy, 95%. You're welcome, universe. Okay, G6 was best. I don't even know if I would ever find that, to be perfectly honest. I see why, though. You're just blunting the hell out of this diagonal. And, to be perfectly honest, I don't have a dark squared bishop, so king up to G6, G7 wouldn't even be one of the worst things you could do. A3, E8, and now E8's good. Right, and after you blunt this, you can now move your other rook in. D takes, rook takes, D7, E3. Hey, look at that. That's rook E3, baby. Queen F6. Yeah. Just kind of piling up. It's unfortunate that we don't have like a discovered check. That would be brutal. And knight F3. And here it is dead even. I could see it, to be perfectly honest. I could. Not perfectly, but I could. Because the problem is like, how do you break in? You're gonna have to break through. This is a pretty strong formation. All that good stuff. Okay, so E takes D5. Sure. Right. Takes F8. Does it matter? That's slightly stronger. E4. Sack the rook. Oh, no. This is what I looked at, right? So this, I think, was what the computer looked at. G5, knight F3, F4, E1, G4. Oh, goodness. Queen G2. And it's kind of similar, except I would say here I'm probably better, but my king, it's slightly more dangerous due to the fact that they have a light squared bishop. And so it's going to be very different. Okay, D7. Oh, really? Again. That's wild. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And so I bet and so that's similar, right, to that position that we got here. What did they do? to here. How did you get here? Here. Oh, we're giving up the advantage, but this is just kind of me playing some of the first stuff that comes to my head. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video of the live play with probably lots more silence than is necessary. We'll talk to you later. Bye.